during which the Roman Empire was shaken by Pompeii, the volcano there, and a great fire. So the two emperors most responsible for the Colosseum were the same two emperors linked to the destruction of biblical Jerusalem. And there's another connection because the Colosseum was begun in the year 72 AD. That's very close to another event that happened in 70 AD, the destruction of Jerusalem. So the Colosseum, the temple's destroyed. 2 years later, the Colosseum goes up. Now, there's a reason for that most people don't know. A connection that is crucial between the destruction of the temple of God in Jerusalem, prophesied by Messiah, and the building of the Colosseum. And the connection is this. The Colosseum was built, listen, from the holy objects of the treasures of the temple of God. In other words, let me explain. The Romans took the treasures out of the temple, the holy objects, and by that had the funds, by those funds, built the Colosseum. The Colosseum, the famous pagan Colosseum, was built from the temple of Jerusalem. Now, I didn't know that out of its destruction. And right there, first object, the Colosseum is a revelation, is the principles, important, key, spiritual, biblical principles. First, the enemy is not only interested in doing evil, he's interested in taking what is good and using it for evil. He took Adam and Eve, created by God in his image, and turned them towards sin against God. What did he do in the wilderness with Messiah? He sought to take Messiah, who is the incarnation of God, the purposes of God, and cause him to serve Satan, bow down and worship evil. The enemy's not just interested in evil. He's interested in turning good for evil, or to take that which is dedicated to God and use it for his purposes. He's interested in desecration. So that's why the Bible speaks of the abomination, desolation, when the enemy will make the temple of God desolate. Now, there was already one abomination that happened over 2,000 years ago, and there will be a one coming up in prophecy. But that shows you the enemy's nature. So the Colosseum, look what he caused the holy vessels of the temple, which were consecrated to God's purposes, to be used to construct an evil place for evil purposes, even where people of righteousness were killed. That's desecration. The Colosseum is desecration in itself. What does that have to do with you? Everything. What does the Bible say? It says, don't you know that you are the temple of God? Don't you know you're the temple? If you are born again, first of all, if you're not born again, you were created to be the temple of God. You were still created to bear the image of God and have God dwell in you. But when you're born again, you become that temple. It means your life is dedicated to God's purposes. Now, it is a holy vessel. Your mind is a holy vessel. Your hands are holy vessels. Your eyes are holy. Your mouth is a holy vessel. Everything about you is a holy vessel. To do the will of God, to fulfill your purpose, to house the presence of God in you. You were saved for holy purposes. You were redeemed to become that holy temple. So what that means is the enemy wants to desecrate you because you are the temple of God. He wants to divert you from the holy purposes for which you're created and which God called you to. To the high calling, he's trying to lower you all the time and desperate. He's trying to take you and use you for sinful purposes, to turn you to low purposes, degrade you, because when you fall into sin, you're degrading yourself, the temple of God. He'll seek to do anything to take the good in your life and turn it for bad, ultimately to darkness. So the enemy is already plotting against you, to turn you subtly. So it could be where he doesn't come out and say, I'm going to destroy you. He does these things that even things look good and look, well, maybe it's sort of like God, and to take you away, to turn you subtly away from God and then totally to darkness. He'll always seek to tempt you, divert you, distract you for one purpose, to defile you, to nullify your calling. So if you are the temple of God, you have to realize the stakes that are there. That you are under attack because of and that's a good thing. Because you have a high and holy calling on your life. The holy purpose for which you exist and for which Messiah saved you. And so you have to guard yourself. You have to guard your calling. You have to treasure your calling. You have to value your calling. You have to defend your calling against any defilement, against any temptation comes. But there's a way to resist it, that God gave that to you so you do not defile yourself, not debase yourself. Don't not forget your purpose and end up serving money or serving other things or serving yourself. You have to guard that. Know you, that's why Paul said, don't you know you're the temple of God? And when the temple of God was destroyed, the Colosseum goes up. What does that mean? When the temple goes down, the Colosseum goes up. When there's a void of good, that's when evil comes in. That's when the enemy comes in. When the temple falls, the temple is the place of prayer. My house should be called a house of praise. Praise, prayer, worship, the blessings of, that's when that goes down, the flesh rises, the Colosseum. Idolatry comes in your life. Materialism comes, impurity comes, conflict comes. When the temple stands, the Colosseum didn't stand. So evil loves a void, and that's a key secret in fighting sin right there. It's not simply enough to try not to sin. That only goes so far. You can't really win. That's a good thing, but it cannot really do it on itself. To just try, I'm not trying to try not to be tempted. I'm going to try not to sin. I'm going to try not to think about that. It's not simply that. But the key is the greatest way to overcome sin is to overcome sin with the presence of God. The presence of God will always overcome sin. The temple, you got the temple prospering, you won't have the Colosseum. The greatest secret in fighting sin is to take its opposite of sin and get strong in the opposite. An example, you want to overcome temptation, then get into the joy of the Lord. Fill your life with prayer and praise and joyful communion with God. Get into the joy of the Word. Get into the joy of His presence. Get into the joy of communion. The joy of righteousness, the joy of the Spirit. Because that's when you're the temple. That's when you're the temple of God. When the temple of God is filled up with the glory of God, there is no other room for the enemy to do his thing with you. And you will overcome.